Alright, in this video I'm going to be doing a redesign of characters from my old webcomic. If you don't know what that webcomic is, that's fine, nobody else does either. But while I'm doing this, you'll get a little retrospective of the whole project. For those of you who don't know, I'm Richie Crypt, and I'm a freelance artist, writer, and occasional musician, if you know my podcast. I have a particular love for anything Ghostbusters. What you're watching me draw right now is, I'm kind of brainstorming what the character will look like. So instead of it just being a guy in a jumpsuit with a helmet on, it's gonna be a little bit more militaristic. I think that's a word, but yeah. Back in 2005, I decided to take my love of XCOM, a video game where you fight aliens, and Ghostbusters, a movie where they fight ghosts, and merge them together into the post-apocalyptic setting. Egged on by my friends over at writingzombie.com, which sadly doesn't exist anymore, I decided it was time to take over half of the family dining room and make a webcomic. The uniform designs were still pretty close to the movie apart from the grey jumpsuits, and these helmets like the ones seen in the original storyboards. But that was it really. With that, Ghostbusters Apocalypse was up and running. Thinking back, you wouldn't want to send people out into a wasteland with just a jumpsuit and a helmet, even with a proton pack, that's still pretty dangerous. And I think that was probably the XCOM influence coming into it, as the first couple of missions of XCOM had you doing exactly that, minus the helmet. And if you've played XCOM, you know how that usually ends. But that's not all they were sent out with, of course. They had the standard proton packs, which I did get better at drawing, the standard slime blower from the second movie, and a new piece of equipment called the PECU, or the Portable Ecto Containment Unit. Like the name says, it's a portable containment unit which sucked the ghost straight into a cylinder stored on the backpack. No more ghost traps. The cylinders could then be switched out and the contents would be stored in a large underground lab. This was an idea I took from an early Ghostbusters 3 script where ghosts were kept in a big off-site facility. I thought it was cool. One of these sites was the location of the first big story arc, Down Among the Dead Men, or something like that. It was very much named after a Doom level, I think, which revolved around a group of soldiers being sent to investigate why a facility had gone dark, only to find that the containment leak had turned everybody into zombies, and the ghosts had manifested as one big eldritch god. I remember I used to take these pages to work and work on them in my lunch break, and we had a lady come down from head office, and she was very disgusted by this page, which any normal person would be, I think. The comic went on for years, with new pages being uploaded practically every week, unless my ancient scanner was broken or my internet had died, which happened quite a bit. Once I had to upload everything onto a compact flash card and take it and my USB card reader to the local public library to upload pages, which thinking back was a bit concerning due to the fact that the card reader once got so hot it caught fire. Thankfully it didn't do this in the library. But anyway, let's skip over this brainstorming session a bit because it will spoil the file and image, because I have some shoddily footage to show you. Bam! Comic Scrap 2006. Yep, I saved every single page I drew of this comic. And there's stuff in here that's never been seen by anybody. And I don't think I ever uploaded, like this little poster here of the entire team. And these are the original pages. One of the things that actually held me back in the early stages of the comic was that I drew them on folded A3 paper, which I thought was really cool because it kind of made it seem like it was an American comic book, and I was all into that at the time. But it just made everything harder for me, which was stupid. So let's chuck them aside, and I'll show you where I transitioned onto A4 paper, which isn't much better. I draw on a much larger scale now. But yeah, this is where I started getting into my own. I could do more effects, like this dithering effect here, which you can't really see on the camera. And started to play more of light and shadows. It got a lot gorier, which was, what I was into. I kind of wanted an Aliens feel to the whole thing. Yep, some more dithering, more action-packed and dynamic shots. Big explosions, as you always want in a science fiction comic. And the Prowlers, I think they were called. I changed the design a few times. Yeah. This is from a comic called Cleaning Up the Town, where I think Ben King got involved, and he made the entire comic so much cooler. As you can see in this image here, he really elevated it to another level. This was the final story I worked on, but some of this never actually saw the light of day. I don't think it's ever been uploaded, so you're seeing it for the first time. I was going to start delving into stuff like mutants and stuff coming into it. Alright, here's on to the final image. The comic was very well received in the community, and I remember Ghostbusters.net wanted me to upload it onto their website and have them host it rather than Smack Jeeves, where it was hosted before and still is. And I remember thinking, oh my god, thousands and thousands of people will see this comic every day if it's uploaded there. I'm not good enough for that, which is something that plagues all artists, I'm sure. But yeah, the comic was well received. I even had some fan art. This one is by Ben Steamroller Steves. You should check him out. Ben Steamroller, I think, on practically everything, Instagram and that sort of stuff. He also has a cat, which is good. And people sort of like cosplayed it a little bit as well. As you can see on this one, I'm kind of fleshing out the Proton packs a lot more accurate than the ones that were actually in the comic. I've drawn my fair share of Proton packs now. And then onto the inking. I'm going to flesh it out. There was a computer game being made by Sad Jason Productions, which was a 2D side-scrolling version of the new Ghostbusters 2, but in the Ghostbusters Apocalypse universe. So if you imagine Streets of Rage with the new Ghostbusters 2 on the NES mechanics, where one person was the trapper and one person was firing the stream, that was essentially what it was going to be. Sadly, it never finished. I think he joined the military, and he did message me back one day and ask if I wanted to continue, but I'd missed the email by months because I'd sent it to an old email address by the time I actually read it, which was a bummer. But remember, we uploaded a teaser for the video game to Gary Jules' Mad World, and people were like really angry about it. But that's the internet. So yeah, inking, of course, being digital. The inking process I do now is so much different from what I used to do back in the day, because my brother literally made me an MDF board which I could slot pens into, and I would sit there on the sofa drawing and doing all those differing effects and that you saw. But now it's like twice the speed to do anything like that. Digital just makes the entire process so much faster and allows me to do stuff like the commissions, the Ghostbusters portraits, which I do. I generally churn out one of those a day. The helmet in the original comics was kind of everything built into one, because I didn't want them having to lug around PKE meters or ecto goggles, so I kind of built it all into the helmet, which the helmets look goofy as anything, I personally think. Especially the way I drew them back then, because they kind of look like just a cap which slots over people's heads. This helmet looks a lot more realistic and military style. Now for the shading. Generally with digital stuff I'll do a multiply layer. Sometimes I'll go in and actually do like the different tones, but this is just for fun really, so I'm not going to put too much effort into that one. And gives it a nice cool comic book feel. And there we are, we're done. Zoom in on it. Just see, there's the original concept, and away we go. If you've made it this far in the video, thank you so much. This is the part where I tell you to like, comment, subscribe, and ring the bell and all that sort of stuff. But I also want to give a shout out to my patrons who really help me out. And if you haven't looked at my Patreon, it's a place where you can actually get stuff sent to you. I don't just send you art on a computer, you get physical stuff like t-shirts and posters and comics and all that sort of thing. But anyway, big shout out to my Patreons: Brian Styron, Chad Sangster, Kenneth Holiday, and Marshall Fitzpatrick, making my life a lot easier each month with that Patreon payment. Please check it out, and thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.